I wonder how Canada's getting on, since the US incumbent, Diaper Don, keeps spreading the feckin' muck while perched on his golden toilet. Well, you see, after a little bit of research, I find out, after looking at the figures, considering the figures that I were getting from right-wing media outlets, it was all doom and gloom for Canada. And it won't be long before Donny will be able to invade a weaker Canada and make it the 51st state. Well, that ain't gonna happen anytime soon. You see, Canada is coming up roses, it is. It's doing extremely well. Is it because you've got a decent Prime Minister? Somebody who's got a brain in their head? Unlike the hollow-headed orange buffoon in the White House. Well, you see, the total exports from Canada are actually on the up by 1.1%. And when you talk about billions and trillions, well, then you talk about a shitload of money. But you are, you see. That rogue nation, the United States, headed by Donald Trump, the US president, dum-dum that he is. Well, he's backfired, that he has. And unfortunately for him, it ain't working. Putting the pressure on Canada. Elbows up. Well, you see, the exports to the United States are down. Exports that manufacturers in the United States, well, they're desperate for. But they're down. They are. They were, as a share of exports, 75.9%, and they've gone down to 68.3%. That's quite a lot of fucking loss, that it is. But also, it has a knock-on effect. The industries in the United States won't be able to function as they once did. And if they are, everything is more expensive now because of Donny's tariffs. You've only got to look at, well, what are the main exports for Canada? Well, it's going to be crude oil and essence, refined oils and what have you, and but metals. But now there's major tariffs on there, pushing the price up of everything for car manufacturers, what have you. The car manufacturing is also a major export. That it is. I've got a list here for you. That I have, yes. You see, what is Canada's finest export? That's mineral fuels and oils vehicles, which account for $57.9 billion. The mineral oils, what have you, is $144.99 billion. And then you've got machinery at $41 billion, precious metals at $34.1 billion. All these sectors have seen a decline. But how come Canada's exports are actually up when their exports have come down to the United States? Well, it's because they're trading with other countries, aren't they? Silly? Yes. You see, exports of gold, silver, platinum and alloys, they've gone up by around 30% to other countries, not the United States, including copper, etc., etc. Now, you could argue there's going to be a bit of a shift, because industries that were trading with the United States, such as car manufacturing, what have you, they are probably going to need some of that money from the government for subsidy to help them tide themselves over while they reassess or shift their business, or to allow for these tariffs, which seems a bit of a, how to put it, a bit painful when, if you're going to provide a subsidy to these businesses, well, then effectively they were going to be using that to pay the tariffs. Even though they're not really paying it, they'll have to try and get their prices, whatever they're going to have to do. Because at the end of the day, it's the buyer that of the product is the one who pays the tariffs. It is a tax, after all. But none of this accounts for this. One extra little thing here, you see. There's a major change in Canada, and this is the fact that LNG exports. None of these figures include LNG exports. No. And back in May, the exports they equated at 48 billion. So you're going to go up and up and up. So that deficit and what have you is going to shrink further for Canada. Canada is going to be having more exports to other countries. There's ongoing negotiations with the European Union. There's already softened deals going on there as well, sort of precursor deals, sort of handshake deals, until things are it's all signed, sealed, and delivered. But they're already up 1.1%. This is going to make Canada so much stronger. So I say to you Canadians, other than the fact you've been threatened with invasion by Donald Trump because he's saying he wants to make you weak, so he can take you over, maybe you'll send him a thank you card. Because what Donald Trump has done, he's triggered the emotion within you, the Canadian spirit of the elbows up and all that, to boycott US products, to boycott the whiskies, etc., and you start, consuming your own products. You see, your imports and exports have also changed. You're importing much less than you once did. Your exports now are up by, by 1.1% overall, and then you got the imports are down by 0.6%. I think that's right. Yes. Anyway, you're exporting more than you're importing. So, send me a little thank you letter, will you? Maybe a little tweet or something to his Truth Social, thanking Donald Trump for his efforts to get us off our asses and feel comfortable with what we've got, to actually look further than the United States, which has proven itself under his regime as a rogue nation that we cannot trust. And I hope other countries will start doing the same. Battening down the whole hatches to stop old Donald Trump peering in. That man is not just an anomaly, he's dangerous, and we do not want him meddling in our affairs or our trade. Now, Canada's proving it is possible. And Canada is going to come up as being one of the major economies. You see, they're already the 5th largest producer of gas, natural gas. They are. And it's only just started. So I have a lot of respect for Canada. The people had spoken. They made it quite clear that they were not happy, including August. They were not happy with what was going on in the threats and what have you. And they've stood up against external threats in the form of tyranny. Look what's going on in the United States. Donald Trump is basically building his own feckin' militia in the form of ICE to be used on the American citizens. The budget is as big as Russia's military spend is what they're spending now on ICE. People need to stand up against it, and the Canadians certainly have. They've shown their will and their might. And I know I'm going to get criticised for this, but I actually do have a huge amount of respect, because I've always been a believer in council. That's probably somebody trying to sell me solar panels. I've already got them. I've always been a believer in I'll give them credit where credit's due. And strength. In the case of strength in numbers, it's a strength in will. Definitely. So well done, Canada. You've done it. And also, you're now on that trajectory. You're going the right way. So well done. hopefully you'll set an example for other countries to start doing the same. Because we need to. There is no softness about this. You peel the plaster off slowly with the United States under that feckin' tangerine Palpatine's rule. No, you've ripped the fecker off. And that's what Canada's done. And that's what the European Union's got to do. And that's what the UK's got to do. All this sucking up and calling him daddy, for feck's sake. Oh, anyway, elbows up, and well done, Canada. You did it. You did it. And it's all going to be up, 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 up. There will still be some hard times, and there'll still be some problems regarding car manufacturing and export and that sort of stuff, because there's going to be a transition. But what we also have to remember is, when the exports are up, you have more money in the pot. There's more possibility of the Canadian government helping the car manufacturers make changes. You know? Look to the future. And maybe then the future will look after you. I just made that up. Anyway, you tell me. Please leave in the comments down below. And if you want to support the channel, you got a Patreon or buy us coffee, and the links are down below. There's also super thanks and stuff like that. But please just boot the old like button, maybe subscribe to the channel, little bell icon, because then you get a warm fuzz feeling. You get every time I upload another video. It might be another one about Canada. I just had to do this because I was reading about this. I have to admit, I was in a bit of glee, because I was kind of been telling you that for ages. Anyway. So little old me, I'm only a mere woodworker, you know, that's all I am. I stick bits of wood together, that I do. Toodaloo.